You know the worst part about having a blower motor howling its way through the tail end of winter? Having it die on the very first hot day of summer. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our 2004 Chevrolet Avalanche Z71. For these project videos, we're going to be incorporating a difficulty scale from 1 to 10, 1 being very, very simple, 10 being the most challenging. In this particular instance, this is going to be a probably level 2 project. Relatively simple, requires very few tools, and is pretty straightforward. But before we begin, if you're enjoying the content we're creating, please be sure to like, share, smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment, let's start some discussions going, let us know what you think of the projects that we're doing and how we're doing as a channel on the whole. Your input is going to determine how well we do and what we provide. That being said, let's go over what we're going to need and what we're going to be doing. Come on. Okay, so this is the main fan for your in-cabin HVAC. It's called a barrel fan for obvious reasons. And this is what creates that gentle breeze or Hurricane Katrina, depending on how desperately you want to warm up or cool off when you're driving the vehicle. It's actually a very easy installation. It's just a plug and twist to lock it into place. So why is this not a level 1 project? Well, that's because of this little bad boy right here. This is your blower motor resistor. And what this does is allows you to change the variable speed of the fan. So you have, light breeze, medium brisk, and blow me out the window. Now, again, normally this would be a simple plug and play installation. However, some time ago, they created what's called a new revision of the resistor, and that requires a new harness. So we have an adapter we're going to have to incorporate into this project, which is why this jumps up from a level 1, very easy, to a level 2, which is slightly more challenging. So what do we need to do this job? You're going to love this. A 7mm nut driver, manual or, in my case, powered. That's it. Let's get started. The placement of the blower motor in most General Motors vehicles, this includes Chevrolet and GMC, going all the way back to 1988. It's the year I graduated high school. Anyway, it's going to be beneath the glove compartment behind a sound deadening shroud like this one right here. Now, the shroud itself, the design may change over time. That part has not remained constant. However, this procedure is, for the most part, going to be identical depending on what vehicle you're working on. The placement is always going to be the same, and the mounting style is almost always going to be the same. The mounting method may vary depending on the year of vehicle you're working on. So, what are we dealing with here? Let's go over it. First thing is the sound deadening shroud right here. It's held on by 3 7mm bolts. One here, one way back here, and then a third one which is located all the way back in here, but you don't need to remove that. This is a very flexible cover. You'll be able to pull it down and let it hang and still have plenty of room to get to what you need to do. So, let's get started. just like that. And now the blower motor is completely removed, and we can see everything we need to on the inside underneath here. All right, once the harness is disconnected, then the blower motor itself comes out very easily. It's basically 6 out of 10 times you're going to run into a simple twist-in fan. Other times it may be bolted in, but the fan mounting is the same. So what you'll do is reach underneath here, give it a little twist, preferably with a hand that gives you a good angle, and then the fan is going to drop right out. And there you have it. This is actually the original harness that I replaced when I replaced this blower motor and resistor about 4 or 5 years ago. And as you can see, if I show you right here, that connector has actually gotten burnt. It's actually melting. So we're going to replace this harness with the one that came with the replacement motor, and we're going to do it better than we did it last time, because the last time I did a typical garage hack, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here, where I just used connectors and electrical tape. We're going to replace this harness with this harness, but we're going to do it right this time, and that involves using a waterproof sealer with solder and our little heat gun right here. And I'll have links in the description below for both of these tools. These are a lifesaver. If any of you know how to solder, this saves so much trouble. It solders it, it seals the wire together, and then it creates a waterproof barrier just like shrink wrap. It's 2 steps in one. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to show you exactly how they work in just a few minutes. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so here's our 3 wires that we're going to need to basically rewire into our brand new replacement harness. So, and here's my picture of how it was originally wired in, which is very important. Whenever you're working with wiring, you want to take a picture of how it's wired before you disassemble it. That way you have something to refer back to if you get confused or you have to step away from the job for a little while. At least now you have a visual reference of how the wires go together. Now with that being said, let's get started and get this wired up. Alright, so first thing we need to do is we need to strip the wires that are underneath the dashboard. And we don't need much, just need enough to be able to create a connection. And there's 1, there's 2, whoop, there's almost 2. Alright, there's 2, and there's 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 14 to 16 gauge connector, slide it through the wire, grab another one for the negative, for the ground, and slide that through. And what's neat about these, if you can see this, that's the solder right in there, and then this whole thing here is a shrink wrap with a seal on either end, and this one's actually missing the seal, so we're not going to use that one. We'll get a better one. There we go. Okay, and then for the smaller purple, which connects to our brown ground, we're going to grab this little bad boy right here. And slide that right in there like that. We have our harness with our self-sealing and solder-filled connectors. We've got our wires trimmed, and we've got our picture for reference so that we don't wire it up wrong. So let's get this thing all wired up. And what's really nice about these connectors is it makes the job so much easier. I'll have a link for the connectors and the heat gun I'm using in the description down below. If you're interested in purchasing them, please use that link. That takes you right to our Amazon affiliates page, and we'll get a little bit of support for making that sale. So help us out, help yourself out, and go ahead and grab these using the link in the description down below. Now, enough shameless self-plugging. Let's get this connected up, and it's going to be real easy. Okay, we're going to take our hot, which is red, and we're going to just push them together like this, pinch them and give them a little twist, and then slide the sleeve all the way up until the solder is in the middle of the wire, like so. Then we're going to take our heat gun and just heat it up, just like this. Just like that. And then the one thing you have to do is you have to let it cool off a little bit. The shrink wrap on this is actually going to be very, very soft and prone to breaking if you're too rough with it when you first get started. So always make sure to give it some time to settle down and get that solder nice and penetrated in there. Once that's done and it cools off a little bit, can you use some electrical tape just to give it a little extra reinforcing. But at least now this time we're not relying on this to keep that connected. It's an actual clean solder joint. It's going to allow a good clean flow of power through that wire. All right, and then one more time. And that's it. All three wires properly connected and ready to go. All right, let's get our new blower motor connected. The first thing we're going to do is plug in the harness right here. And then we're going to slide it up into its housing, provided I can find it, right up here. And the screw-in ones are sometimes a little tricky to get lined up. There we go. All right, let's get this connected up and then we'll be done. We can try it out. Now with the resistor, you're going to want to connect it to the harness, of course, just like that. It's idiot proof. You can't mess up that connection. But then when you mount it, you want your low side bracket going towards the driver and your high side bracket going towards the passenger. So slide it up in here, find out which hole lines up best. Take one of our screws, and then make your connection that way. Grab your other screw for your other side. Make sure you do not pinch any of these wires, because otherwise you're going to have problems right out of the gate. And connect that. Once you're done with that, replace your sound dampener. And hey presto, we're done. Now let's see if it works. All right. And we have a blower motor and we have cold air. We're good. Okay, so we replaced the blower motor, we replaced the resistor, and everything is working just fine. Now, a couple of things. This procedure will work on any General Motors truck, either GMC or Chevrolet, Silverado, Suburban, Tahoe, Avalanche. Going as far back as 1988, the position and mounting of that blower motor and resistor has not changed much in all that time. It's one of those situations where you found something that worked, upper management came by and wanted to mess with it, and they turned around and said, Baltar?
I should think that's highly inadvisable.
And then they went with not, leave it where it is because it works just fine that way. Now, there are some differences. Number one, the shroud that covers the fan may be different depending on what year or model vehicle you're working on. Number two, we have the twist-in mounted fan in the Avalanche, but there are actually other variations where it's actually bolted in. And in my personal opinion, the bolt-in fan is a lot easier to work with. Number three, rewiring that harness because of a revision change or a wiring change in the resistor to compensate for an issue that developed way back 20 years ago. Not really a big deal, but it is kind of a pain. The fact that they do provide some shrink wrap and solder joint pieces with the package is fine, but they're not the most high quality, which is why I used the ones that I did from my own toolkit. Speaking of tools, we are an Amazon affiliate, so that everything that we purchase, we are going to list in the description of our videos below. Those items are available for purchase on Amazon using the link in the description. If you use that link, that gives us a little bit of kickback and it actually helps support the channel, so we really do appreciate that. In the meantime, my name is Big Mike. Thank you so much for joining us on this little project replacing the blower motor in our 2004 Chevrolet Avalanche. From all of us here at Everyman Auto, we'll see you in the next episode. I'm going to go and enjoy my air conditioning.